Before we dive in, viewer discretion is advised. This content is for entertainment purposes. What happens when a decorated combat veteran walks into the lion's den of daytime television and refuses to be devoured? You are about to witness one of the most satisfying takedowns in television history, the moment a soldier went to war on live TV and won. Tulsi Gabbard versus Joy Behar. The View. 16 years of military service against 40 years of talk show arrogance? And what happened next warmed the hearts of millions of Americans who are sick and tired of watching veterans get disrespected by people who have never worn a uniform. Before we dive into this incredible confrontation, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because this is going to be absolutely wild. The setup was simple. The ambush was planned. The View had spent weeks attacking Tulsi Gabbard's character, her patriotism, her very identity as an American. Joy Behar and her co-host had thrown every label they could find at her: traitor, Russian asset, Trojan horse, useful idiot. 4 accusations, 4 attacks, 4 attempts to destroy a woman who had dedicated almost her entire adult life to defending the very country they accused her of betraying. They expected her to come on the show defensive and apologetic. They expected her to grovel, to explain herself, to beg for forgiveness like so many guests before her. They had absolutely no idea what was about to walk through those studio doors. Tulsi Gabbard did not come to apologize. She did not come to explain. She did not come to play nice with the people who had been dragging her name through the mud on national television. She came to set the record straight. She came armed with something Joy Behar could never match: the unassailable truth of lived experience, of actual sacrifice, of real patriotism. The moment Tulsi sat down, the energy in that studio shifted. The air crackled with tension. This was not going to be a typical View interview. This was going to be a reckoning. Recently on your show here, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country. She does not ask permission. She does not hedge her words. She states it as fact because it is fact. They said it on camera to millions of viewers, and now they would answer for it. A Russian asset, a Trojan horse. Each accusation lands like a hammer blow, forcing the host to confront the weight of what they have been saying so casually, so carelessly, so recklessly. Or a useful idiot, I think was the term you used. She pauses, lets the words hang in the air like smoke from a battlefield, lets everyone in that studio feel the gravity of calling a combat veteran a useful idiot, which basically means that I am naive or lack intelligence. The translation cuts deep. Useful idiot is not just an insult, it is a complete dismissal of everything she has done, everything she has sacrificed, everything she represents. It says you are too stupid to know you are being manipulated. It says your 16 years of service mean nothing. It says your 2 combat deployments are a joke. It says your intelligence briefings, your committee work, your dedication all worthless. Joy shifts uncomfortably in her seat. The smug expression is still plastered on her face, but cracks are forming. She did not expect Tulsi to come out swinging this hard, this fast, this effectively. I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am. Tulsi leans forward slightly. Her posture is pure military straight spine, squared shoulders, eyes locked forward like targeting systems, acquiring a hostile. Set the record straight. 4 words that carry the weight of 16 years in uniform. 4 words that promise what is coming next will not be pretty for those who have slandered her. I am a patriot. She says it without hesitation, without qualification, without the defensive tone they expected. This is not a claim, it is a declaration of war. I love our country. 5 words that Joy Behar has probably said 1,000 times on this show. But from Tulsi, they carry a different weight. They carry the weight of actually backing them up with action, with service, with sacrifice. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color. She reclaims every word they tried to use against her. Strong, not weak. Intelligent, not a useful idiot. Woman of color, not someone to be dismissed or patronized by wealthy white talk show hosts. And I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and freedom of all Americans in this country. The studio falls silent. 200 audience members, 4 co-hosts, dozens of crew members, all of them confronted with the reality of who they have been attacking. This is not some political operative. This is not some foreign agent. This is a soldier, a veteran, a congresswoman, a patriot who has put her life on the line while they sat in air-conditioned studios questioning her loyalty. Joy Behar tries to regain control, tries to redirect, tries to deploy her favorite weapon, guilt by association. We are getting a little far ahead of ourselves here. The dismissal is immediate. Tulsi is building her case, establishing her credentials. And Joy wants to skip past all of it. She does not want viewers to hear about Tulsi's service. She wants to get back to the smears. But Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. The implication hangs in the air like poison gas. Franklin Graham is a conservative. Conservatives are bad. Therefore, if a conservative likes you, you must be bad too. He does not find me refreshing. Tulsi fires back immediately, rejecting the premise entirely. She will not be defined by who allegedly supports her. She will be defined by her own actions, her own record, her own service. But Joy is not done loading her ammunition. She has another guilt by association attack ready to deploy. Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you. The accusation is breathtaking in its dishonesty. A white nationalist, someone Tulsi has never met, never spoken to, never associated with, says he could theoretically vote for her. And somehow that is supposed to reflect on her character. By this logic, every candidate is responsible for the views of every disturbed person who might support them. It is absurd. It is intellectually bankrupt. And Tulsi is not having it. Joy, this is why I am here. Her voice sharpens. The Southern courtesy begins to evaporate. The soldier is emerging from beneath the politician's veneer. Because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am. Innuendos. The perfect word for what they have been doing. Not direct accusations with evidence, just implications. Suggestions. Whispered smears designed to destroy without ever having to prove anything. Joy tries to interject. Her mouth opens. Her signature move, the verbal bulldozer that has flattened countless guests before prepares to deploy. It does not work. Not today. Not against this opponent. Not against someone who has faced actual enemies in actual combat zones. Tulsi continues, steamrolling right over Joy's attempted interruption like a tank over a speed bump. Unfortunately, you double down on the baseless accusations that she made. She, Hillary Clinton, the source of all these smears. The woman pulling the strings while Joy dances like a puppet on national television. That strikes at the core of who I am. Not just an attack on her politics. Not just an attack on her positions. An attack on her identity. On her honor. On everything that makes her who she is. I am a soldier because of the attacks on September 11th. The words land like bombs in the studio. September 11th. The day that changed everything. The day that sent Tulsi Gabbard into uniform while Joy Behar continued hosting a talk show. I enlisted in the military to go after, defeat, and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. Go after, defeat, destroy. 3 verbs that describe real action, real sacrifice, real patriotism. Not talking about patriotism on television, actually living it in combat zones. I have served now for over 16 years. 16 years. Let that sink in. 16 years in uniform. 16 years of deployments and training, and sacrifice and service. 16 years while Joy Behar sat in a comfortable chair and collected a paycheck for talking. Deployed twice to the Middle East during the height of the war. Twice. Not once, twice. She went into the fire, came home, and then volunteered to go back into the fire again. That is not the behavior of a Russian asset. That is the behavior of a patriot. Where every single day, I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. Every single day. Not occasionally. Not sometimes. Every single day, she witnessed the cost of war, the blood, the bodies, the broken families, the flag-draped coffins. It is why I ran for Congress. The through line becomes clear. September 11th led to enlistment. Enlistment led to deployment. Deployment led to witnessing the cost of war. Witnessing the cost of war led to running for Congress to change the policies that create that cost. This is not a politician who read about war in briefing papers. This is a soldier who lived it, breathed it, bled for it, and decided to do something about it. Joy sits there, her ammunition depleted, her attacks neutralized, her smug expression crumbling by the second. But the knockout blow is still coming. Because Tulsi is about to address the source of all these smears, Hillary Clinton herself. The clip plays. Hillary Clinton's voice fills the studio like a dark prophecy being read aloud. I am not making any predictions, but I think they have got their eye on somebody who is currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. Grooming. The word choice is deliberate and disgusting. It implies manipulation, control. That Tulsi is not making her own decisions, but being puppeteered by foreign powers. She is the favorite of the Russians. No evidence. No proof. No intelligence reports cited. Just a bald accusation from a woman who lost a presidential election and cannot accept that anyone might legitimately disagree with her. They have a bunch of sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. Sites and bots. The vague technological boogeyman that can be used to smear anyone, cannot prove someone is actually disloyal. Just claim the Russians are supporting them online. Who can disprove it? That is assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she is also a Russian asset. 2 women, 2 decorated public servants, both branded as Russian assets by Hillary Clinton with 0 evidence, 0 proof, 0 accountability. This is McCarthyism reborn. This is the politics of destruction. This is what happens when powerful people cannot win arguments on the merits. They destroy their opponents with smears instead. Tulsi's response is immediate, fierce, righteous. This is outrageous. She says it once, letting it land. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. She says it again, driving the point home. This is not a policy disagreement. This is a character assassination. And she will not let it stand unchallenged. I have served as a member of Congress now for almost 7 years. 7 years. 7 years of legislative work, committee hearings, constituent services, votes on matters of war and peace. 7 years of public service added to 16 years of military service. Receiving high-level national security and intelligence briefings. High-level briefings. The kind of classified information that only the most trusted members of government receive. The kind of access that requires extensive background checks and security clearances. If Tulsi Gabbard were actually a Russian asset, do they think the intelligence community would not have noticed by now? Do they think she would still have her clearances? Do they think she would still be receiving classified briefings? Serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee. 3 committees. 3 of the most sensitive assignments in Congress. Foreign Affairs, where the nation's international relationships are shaped. Armed Services, where military policy is crafted. Homeland Security, where the country's defenses are coordinated. A Russian asset on all 3 committees. The accusation is not just offensive, it is absurd on its face. Working to ensure the safety and security of the people of this country? This is what Tulsi does. Not talk about safety and security on a talk show, actually work on it. In committee rooms. In classified briefings. In the halls of Congress where real decisions are made. This is why I am running for president, to continue that commitment. The commitment of service. The commitment of sacrifice. The commitment of putting country above self that Joy Behar will never understand because she has never lived it. The hosts try a different approach now. Softer. More sympathetic. Equally patronizing. Are you surprised, though, that when people see bots and things and all the things that we have sort of been seeing heading your way, that people have these questions? Translation: maybe you are not a traitor. But can you really blame us for treating you like one? Because she is not the only one. Hillary, I do not think, is the only one. The defense of Hillary begins. She is not the only one saying these things, so it must be legitimate. Never mind that everyone else saying it is just repeating what Hillary said. The smear has been laundered through enough mouths that it now passes for conventional wisdom. So what she is saying is she feels they are grooming you. You are saying nobody is grooming me. The host tries to frame it as a simple disagreement. Hillary feels one way. Tulsi feels another. Reasonable people can disagree. But this is not a disagreement about tax policy or health care. This is an accusation of treason. And Tulsi is not going to let them minimize it. I am doing what I am doing because I am a soldier and a patriot. Soldier, patriot. Two words that describe 16 years of her life. Two words that Joy Behar tried to erase with careless accusations on a morning talk show. It is offensive to me as a soldier. First, identity claimed. The soldier who enlisted after September 11th and served for 16 years. As an American. Second, identity claimed. The citizen who loves her country enough to fight for it. Bleed for it. Sacrifice for it. As a member of Congress. Third, identity claimed. The elected representative who has earned the trust of her constituents and the security clearances of her government. As a veteran. Fourth, identity claimed. The warrior who has seen combat and carries those experiences with her every single day. And frankly, as a woman, to be so demeaned. Fifth, identity claimed. The woman in a field dominated by men, who has had to fight twice as hard to be taken half as seriously, and now watches other women tear her down with baseless accusations. 5 identities. 5 foundations of who Tulsi Gabbard is. All of them attacked by people who have sacrificed nothing, served nowhere, and risked nothing for their country. But Tulsi is not just playing defense anymore. The counterattack has begun, and her target is the real warmonger in this story. I am pointing to the fact that she has continued this legacy of being the world's police around the world. She, Hillary Clinton, the architect of interventionist foreign policy, the champion of regime change, the woman whose decisions have cost thousands of American lives, that has waged wars costing the lives of thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform. Brothers and sisters. Not abstract statistics. Not policy debates. Real people. People Tulsi served with. People Tulsi knew. People Tulsi watched come home in coffins. I am speaking out against that. This is why Tulsi is being attacked. Not because she is a Russian asset that is absurd, but because she dares to challenge the foreign policy establishment. She dares to question the endless wars. She dares to speak for the soldiers who pay the price for Washington's failures. Joy tries one more desperate counterattack. One more attempt to regain control of an interview that has completely escaped her grasp. Are you serious? Are you serious? The rhetorical question of someone who has no actual argument left. When you cannot dispute the facts, question the seriousness of the person presenting them. So you served in the war, are you saying that she died in Iraq? The question is bizarre, almost incoherent. Joy is grasping at straws, trying to find any angle of attack that might stick. Tulsi does not miss a beat, does not get flustered, does not lose her composure. The soldier remains calm under fire. She championed regime change in Libya. Libya, the country Hillary Clinton helped destroy. The country that went from stable, if imperfect, to a failed state with open slave markets. The country whose chaos has spread across North Africa and into Europe. I believe the lies that were told to us. Tulsi admits her own mistake. She believed the lies too. She voted for intervention too. The difference is, she learned from it. She changed. She grew. Well, so did she. The trap springs shut. Hillary believed the same lies, but instead of learning from them, she kept championing more interventions, more regime changes, more wars that cost more American lives. It is indisputable. It is indisputable. She repeats it for emphasis. This is not opinion. This is not spin. This is historical fact that anyone can verify. To say anything other than the fact that Hillary Clinton throughout her career has led with a foreign policy of interventionism. Throughout her career, not one mistake, not one bad decision, a pattern, a philosophy, a worldview that sees American military power as a tool to reshape the world according to Washington's preferences. And being the world's police, going and toppling dictators in other countries? Toppling dictators sounds noble until you realize what comes after. Chaos. Civil war. Power vacuums filled by extremists. And American soldiers sent to clean up the mess. That has caused such destruction and loss of life. Destruction. Loss of life. Not abstract concepts for Tulsi. She has seen the destruction. She has witnessed the loss of life. She has held the hands of dying soldiers and written letters to grieving families. I am against that. I am running for president to change that. The mission statement is clear. Tulsi is not running for power. She is not running for prestige. She is running to end the endless wars that have cost so much and achieved so little. Rather than actually debate me on the issues, she and others are resorting to these smear tactic campaigns. This is the heart of it. They cannot beat her on the merits. They cannot argue that endless wars are good. They cannot defend the policies that have failed so catastrophically. So they attack her character instead. Seeking to undermine me. Smear my character. Undermine. Smear. The verbs of political assassination. The tools of those who cannot win fair fights. And sending a message to anyone who dissents: toe the line. Or you too will be smeared. This is the real purpose of the attacks on Tulsi. Not to defeat her specifically, but to warn everyone else. Speak out against the establishment, and this is what happens to you. Question the consensus, and you will be destroyed. The audience erupts. Not polite applause. Not obligatory clapping. Real, thunderous, cathartic applause from people who have been waiting years to see someone stand up to this kind of bullying. The soldier had walked into the ambush and turned it into a complete and total victory. Joy Behar sits there stunned. Her arsenal depleted. Her attacks neutralized. Her credibility in ruins. The smug expression that she wore at the beginning of this interview has been replaced by something closer to shock. This was not supposed to happen. Guests are supposed to be intimidated by the view. They are supposed to apologize and explain themselves. They are not supposed to fight back, and they are definitely not supposed to win. But Tulsi Gabbard is not a typical guest. She is a soldier. And soldiers do not surrender just because the odds seem stacked against them. Let us take a moment to appreciate the absurdity of this entire situation. On one side of that table sat Tulsi Gabbard. 16 years of military service. 2 combat deployments to the Middle East. 7 years in Congress. Service on 3 of the most sensitive committees in government. The highest security clearances in the nation. A record of sacrifice that speaks for itself. On the other side sat Joy Behar. A talk show host. A comedian. Someone who has spent her career making jokes and giving opinions in an air-conditioned studio, while others did the actual work of defending the country. And somehow, the talk show host thought she had the moral authority to question the soldier's patriotism. The comedian thought she could lecture the combat veteran about loyalty to country. It would be laughable if it were not so offensive. The source of all these smears, Hillary Clinton, makes it even more absurd. This is a woman who has never worn a uniform, never deployed to a combat zone, never put herself in harm's way for her country. Her claim to foreign policy expertise comes from being married to a president and serving as Secretary of State, a tenure marked by the disastrous intervention in Libya, the failure in Benghazi, and the spread of chaos across the Middle East. And she lost. She lost a presidential election to a reality television host. The American people looked at Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and decided they would rather have the game show host running the country. That is the person whose accusations Joy Behar repeated on national television. That is the person whose smears were treated as gospel truth by hosts who should know better. Meanwhile, the person they attacked, Tulsi Gabbard, has done everything right. She enlisted after September 11th. She served 16 years. She deployed twice to combat zones. She won election to Congress. She earned her security clearances. She served on the committees that oversee national defense. And her real crime, her actual offense, she thought independently. She spoke out against the wars that were killing her brothers and sisters in uniform. She refused to fall in line with the party establishment. She went against Hillary Clinton in 2016. She endorsed Bernie Sanders when the Democratic establishment wanted her to support Hillary. She put her principles above her political career. And for that, for the crime of having integrity, she was branded a traitor by people who have never served, never sacrificed, never put anything on the line for their country. This is the state of political discourse in America today. Attack the veteran. Smear the soldier. Question the patriot. Destroy anyone who dares to think differently. And then act surprised when they fight back. But Tulsi Gabbard did not just fight back. She won. Decisively. Completely. Devastatingly. Joy Behar sat there looking like a complete fool, outmatched, outclassed, and utterly exposed for the shallow, partisan hack she had revealed herself to be. Her co-hosts offered no support. Her arguments crumbled under the weight of Tulsi's credentials. Her smug confidence evaporated in the face of actual facts and actual service. This is what happens when you bring talking points to a battle against someone who has actually been to battle. This is what happens when you question the patriotism of someone who has bled for the flag you only wave at convenient moments. This is what happens when you try to ambush a soldier and discover that soldiers know how to fight back. The lesson here is simple. Do not question the patriotism of people who have served their country just because you disagree with their politics. Do not call combat veterans Russian assets because Hillary Clinton told you to. Do not confuse your opinion with fact, your talking points with truth, your comfortable studio with a moral high ground. Tulsi Gabbard may not win the presidency. She may not even win the primary. But on that day, in that studio, against that ambush, she won. Completely and totally. And Joy Behar, she learned a lesson that she will not soon forget. Some people bite back. Now, I may not agree with everything Tulsi does. I may not support all of her positions. But overall, she conducted herself with honor, dignity, and the kind of courage that comes from actually putting yourself in harm's way for your country. People need to lay off her. This is a congresswoman who is currently in the armed forces, who has served her country with distinction, who has earned the right to be heard without being called a traitor. The real lesson of this confrontation is not about Tulsi or Joy or Hillary. It is about all of us. It is about what kind of political discourse we are willing to accept. Are we going to let smears replace substance? Are we going to let accusations replace arguments? Are we going to let the politics of personal destruction silence anyone who dares to think differently? Or are we going to demand better, demand evidence before accusations? Demand debate instead of smears. Demand that our public servants be judged by their records, not by the conspiracy theories of bitter losers. Tulsi Gabbard showed us one way to respond with facts, with dignity, with the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you have actually served your country instead of just talking about it. Joy Behar showed us another way, the way of cheap shots, baseless accusations, and the kind of intellectual cowardice that hides behind innuendo instead of making real arguments. The choice is ours. Which path do we want our discourse to take? What do you think? Was Tulsi right to confront Joy directly? Should more politicians fight back against media smear campaigns? Should veterans get more respect from people who have never served? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this confrontation and what it says about the state of our political discourse. And do not forget to subscribe for more incredible stories like this one. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. This has been another breakdown of the moments that matter. See you in the next one.